officers involved in the shooting claim that
police do know.
Now, the man who protected Keenan Forbes for years.
I was charged for murder. They said I was charged for attempted murder. They said I was a kingpin. They said I was this. And today where I am.
Interfere with investigations and witnesses.
Are we ready? Yeah. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that we bring you our most viewed guest on the Load Shed podcast for a part 2. It is none other than a man we call Uncle Anwar.
The season ender.
The season ender
finale.
This is the best way to end this, and I feel like it is a treat for you guys. And we are lucky that we get to have this conversation over here. Uncle Anwar, welcome back. There's a lot to talk about. Where I think we should start is where we ended. Okay. So just for clarity, guys, go watch that. Go watch that if you want to know what's about to happen here, please. So just for clarity, we ended where we spoke about yourself. There's a reel that went viral about us talking about even the Blue Light Brigade. We spoke about AKA and everything that happened over there.
The costs
involved
as well. That gained significant traction. I mean, that was in every single post I saw in social media for the next few weeks.
We even made some of the news news places. And then what was interesting about that timeline at the time is we shot that podcast, and then I think it was about a week or 2 weeks later, I could be mistaken, the police arrested the AKA murderers. Now, what are your thoughts from there? Because it's either the divine timeline or an incredible coincidence, but it was crazy because we had that conversation, and then after that, that's what we saw.
Yeah, I think greetings to everyone that's really on this podcast. I think congratulations to Shaka and Josh. You're doing a phenomenal job in actually handling this podcast. For me, to everyone that actually viewed the previous podcast, showed a lot of love. Number one, for AKA, a lot of his fans came on. We love him and we'll continue to love him. The tribute as always will be there for AKA. And I think I owed it to myself as his close protector, his close friend. I owed it to myself to also put pressure into the powers that be in this country that there is no ways that I will just sit still and keep quiet and allow that an icon of this nature to be murdered and just be left. And it took 1 year before I had to speak up again, because it actually went silent right throughout. Media went silent, police went silent, investigations went silent, everything went silent, and it started to bother me. And that's when ENCA, Deson Thatcher, reached out to me and said, listen, we cannot do this. And I also said to him, hey, Deson, what is going on? What do you know about this here? Let's do something. Let's put the pressure through the media. So people need to understand that, listen, the police officers and the investigating officers and the task team that is actually placed to actually find the murderers of AKA, we need to put the pressure to find out what is going on. We know that a lot of investigation has been done on this here, but why isn't it being why are there no arrests being made? And this has been actually, by saying that, it's actually been confirmed when General Sibia appeared before the ad hoc committee. And he stated that he was actually stating that it was me, General Sibia, that put the pressure and flew down and met the team that is working on AKA's case. And I said it, and he said this, it's because of the pressure we are getting from the media. It's like we are not competent enough to do our job. And then I knew, because we came out and we spoke about this, that he put the pressure on. And then for sure, those guys were arrested and brought before the courts of law. Mm. And then from what you asked as to what happened ever since, from then to now, the guys have been denied bail. They're still in jail. clearly we're still hoping to find out that what next, because clearly, yeah, we got the hit men, but who called the hit, and why is that person that called the hit being so shielded? Why is everyone so quiet about that person that called the hit? Because only when the person that called the hit is arrested and put in prison, then only do we know for sure that justice is being served. That's for sure.
In your honest opinion, do you think we will ever know?
In my honest opinion, we do know. Police do know. Ministers do know. Peggy Kele himself, he knew. He knows. He knows. Nobody does that. When General Mkwanazi at the Madlanga Commission, he mentioned it. He stated it. Peggy Kele wanted him to fly up with a team that's investigating AKA's killers to brief him on AKA's murder. And then when General Mkwanazi said in a commission that he refused to go up, because remember, Peggy Kele is a minister. And what General Mkwanazi stands is that political interference from any minister into operational matters and investigation matters and intelligence matters of the police service should not be contaminated or interfered by politicians. So what Peggy Kele done, he got on a plane or whatever he got on, but he came down specifically to find out what is going on about this case and to get information on it. So I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm not going to dwell on that. But for me, on the satisfaction, on the fact that we're getting somewhere, and that we restored confidence in the police force.
It's very good that we're getting somewhere. Just recently in the ad hoc committee, Peggy Kele also mentioned that AKA, I think it was AKA's fiance. Now he's saying no, they know that there should be another inquest on that death. They're saying that it's possible that she was actually murdered. But now that's bringing up now that story, that half of the story of AKA at the same time. So it sounds like the conversation is now going to get even bigger.
You know, Shaka, when a minister says that he knows that the fiancé was murdered, if you know that she was murdered, and that means you know who murdered her, why is there no inquest till this day? Number one. Why, if even if, say, for instance, hypothetically speaking, that is implying that AKA was involved in the murder of his fiancée, why are you coming to speak about it? Yeah, at the ad hoc commission. You were the Minister of Police. Go and brief your national commissioner. Let the national commissioner brief the investigating officers to open up that inquest and to bring the people to book and to find out the truth. Because even his fiance's family, they need also justice. They need closure too. And what happens? We turn around and we say, okay, because I'm a minister, I know this here. This minister is exposing himself, as far as I'm concerned. This ex-minister, he's exposing himself. He is exposing himself as to how deep he was involved in this and how close he was to it.
Yeah, the comments are saying, look, you're spilling the beans, yes, but you were at the helm at the time. That's what people are saying. To Peggy Kele, they're like, at this, although you've got all the information and although you're saying all of these things, you were still at the helm during this thing. So what actually did come about?
You know, I've been in this in everything. There's nothing I haven't been in. Before politicians that are now politicians, before the ANC came into power, I was already working in the apartheid system as a law enforcement officer, as a police officer. I was in one of the most strategically placed units in this country, which was the Internal Stability Unit Reaction Force. When we talk about Internal Stability Unit, we're talking about anti-terrorism. We're talking about everything that the government, who was not the government of the day, that is the government of the day today, did in contrast to the country's law and order. And today, we take the same people, we place them in there because they are politicians. And then we ask ourselves, how does a minister like Peggy Kele, first, he became a commissioner of police. When he became a commissioner of police, he was charged for corruption. He was taken out of position. He used to walk around as a general, wearing uniforms with stars and everything. Yeah. And then he was charged for corruption and then taken out of the police force. Not long ago, he comes back as a minister of police. The people of South Africa are being fooled. The people of South Africa, they got wool over their eyes by these politicians. They appear to be so concerned about the status of crime in this country. They appear that they're so concerned to be really sensitive. But what do we do? What do? They don't understand it. That if policemen go out and go and arrest 2 people that have killed 5 people, I'm going to applaud them for actually doing the investigation of finding the killers. That's an investigating officer. Do those people come back to life after we know who the killers are? The killers go to jail. The people are dead. The family suffers the loss. What is the crime prevention systems? What are the preventative measures? What are the intelligence gathering measures? How powerful is our intelligence system in knowing that which perpetrators, which criminals are out there with which type of weapons, what hit is going to be carried out 2 days from now on a family of 5? We are not concerned about that. But the country applauds and say, oh, the Peggy Kala, he caught these killers. Oh, the police caught the killers. No. I come from this world. I come from it. I spent my years in the most dangerous parts of this country during the apartheid times. Katlong, Tokoza, Vosloorus. You ask anyone, it was called the caterers area. I served my time, and I know it. What's required of a policeman when it comes to this kind of thing.
So the actual thing you're saying here, Uncle Anwar, is that it's more about prevention than us reacting after the fact.
Yes, it's more about prevention. It's methods that you deploy in operations where I can come and raid an entire location. I can raid it every single day until I clear all those weapons out of that place, until I catch every potential criminal. If I take biometric system and I stand at the mall and every single would-be person, second, third, fourth, and I put them on and I put them on a biometric system. As soon as you put your thumbprint, it gives me a whole list of whether you are wanted. Do you have an outstanding warrant? Do you have a thing? But what is the laziness of us, of the police force? Number one, we go out and we don't recruit and train police officers to be police officers. The day when the police force, I was in a police force, the day when the force turned to become a service, that's when you stop training police officers. And what the minister says, I'm putting more boots on the ground. So those boots that you are putting on the ground, how capable and competent are those boots on the ground to actually carry out these operations? Why will I have a task force, political killing task force? That so much of money is being spent on this political killing task force. Millions and millions is being spent on that, right? For individual politicians that know exactly that when I become a councillor, and I have been an IFP councillor, and now I'm going to become an ANC councillor, I cross the floor, that I'm going to die. So that councillor, no police state and crime crime intelligence gives him a report on his risk and threat and says, listen, you are going to be killed, so this is what we need to do. Right, we'll take this crime intelligence report, go to the municipality, deploy 4 or 6 bodyguards around you. You don't need a task team to go and investigate who killed the councillor. Instead of spending 100 million to go and investigate who killed 5 councillors, I can put 25 or 30 bodyguards around these councillors to make sure that they're alive at 1/10 the price of that. That is what I'm talking about. Prevention, intelligence gathering, intelligence reporting, testing intelligence and working on intelligence. But how the system has changed around now, the way I look at it, is that everybody is looking for a budget in his department, and then you take the budget. We take an area like, I'm not even going to go to Cape Flats. You take an area from where I come from, Wentworth. From 2023 to 2025, 163 youth between the age of 18 and 25 were murdered and killed.
Sure. That's devastating.
Between 2023 and 2025, I'm telling you, an entire generation between the ages of 18 and 25 were killed in a small area like that. Why there was no task team that was made to come and sort out that, and how quick I can clean that place up. I clean my community. I cleaned them up. I brought gangs together. I made gang sign treaties. I cleared up unlicensed guns in the community. Just myself. Imagine if you got these thousands of task team and millions of rand that is poured into communities. They mustn't play games. Let's be honest and call a spade a spade. We come from all types of world. I protected politicians before they became politicians. I protected every type of politician that is sitting in parliament today. I bodyguarded them. I stayed in the bush with some of them that crossed the floor from ANC to IFP. It used to be called the crossing of the floor. During the apartheid time and before 1994 and after 1994. ANC had no money. You see now, ANC got money. ANC is in government. Before, when ANC, after 1994, they had budgets for everything. When they had no budget, used to call upon companies like us that used to go and say, okay, now we need to go and march against Sifiso Nkabinde in Richmond. Or I need to go and take a team to protect Julius Malema. He's an ANC youth league. I protected Julius Malema. I took him when he was head of ANC Youth League. Fikile Mbalula, when he was in charge of the ANC Youth League. I protected him. Matthew Posa, all of them. We protected them. A lot of them. And I'm telling you, during that time, it was we were dwindled out of the love of our country, number one, and at the same time hoping that when the ANC come into power, they will recognize our competency levels, they will recognize our strength, our courage, our integrity, they will recognize that we are here and we will continue serving you. But what did they do? When it came in and they had budgets for every single department, they decided to have cadre deployment. In government, they went to cadre deployment. Peggy Kyle is a cadre deploy. Most of the generals that are in a police force have been deployed by cadres and put into places, hoping that when we make mistakes, we call upon you because I have placed you in those positions.
For the layman, how would you describe what cadre deployment is?
Cadre deployment is when the entire ANC that's in charge of government, they say, okay, now what we're going to do, Mr. X, go and open up a security company. Open up the security company, we will make sure that we give you the security tenders from Department of Housing. And then what you need to do is you pour that money back. You pour some of that money back into our coffers so that we will continue canvassing and stand up for elections. And so what happens is the competency levels and the proper standards and the high trained thing, you lose. Because I will never ever stand for a contract that says to me that, hey, Mr. Khan, I can give you a contract, but you need to give me a kickback of so much. You are insulting me. I'm a specialist in what I do. I'm not buying the contract. You're coming to me, you want me to execute and to implement and to protect. This is what I do. And this is my company, this is my price. I'm not prepared to. If you look right throughout all of that, and I will tell you, I took care of MEC Misha Khadebe for 2 years. He was an MEC. I had bodyguards deployed, vehicles deployed them. He was the first MEC, ANC MEC, that said to me that, Mr. Khan, I want to go and canvass in Ulundi and Mahlabatini. I want to go and canvass in an IFP dominated area. And I want to do door-to-door canvassing. I said, MEC, I will take you to wherever you want to go. I will protect you and the teams that's doing us there to wherever you want to go. At that time, there was NIU just came into being.
What year was this?
This was
just for the timeline.
I'm trying to figure out what year was that. It was 2010, 2012, 2010, around there, that time. Yeah. And I took him door to door with me and my guys. I took him door to door. And it was the first time ANC won the elections in Ulundi. They won it. They won it. The police did not want to do it in the dark to go door to door with him. They didn't.
What were your What were your risk factors there when you're taking someone into a space like that? Because we've spoken about the celebrity ones time and time again. Now you've got a completely different personality. You've got a politician going into rival territory, basically. What would you be looking for, and what would you be protecting in that sort of a event?
Yeah, clearly, remember everything of our deployment, where we come from, is intelligence driven. We only deploy according to the intelligence that I can gather. In other words, that I go in, I do my risk assessment, I do my risk analysis, I look at the crime stats, I look at whatever, I look at who are the big strongholds, who are the big people that are in that area. And a time of ANC in power, we used to have what was known as the SDU, which is a self-defense unit, which was in the ANC. And then we used to have what is IFP used to have the self-protection units, the SPUs. So those self-protection units used to be deployed in certain of these areas here. And then when you're coming into all these areas here, and it's and you don't you can't the MEC can't tell me today that I want to do this tonight. I can tell him that today is a Saturday. On Wednesday, it is a day for us to go do. And we'll spend all the time, day and night, doing our route assessments, doing our route planning, doing our evacuation route in case of emergency, which ways we're going to go in, which way we're going to come out. Then I deploy accordingly on which team is going to protect which people that are going on the canvassing, which team is going to protect the MEC, how much of coverage the MEC is going to get, because at that particular moment, the MEC is your prime principle, is your main principle.
P1.
Yeah, is your P, is your P. Yeah,
He learned
We
the
learned
word.
it from you. Yeah.
So we do that, and we go and we do it. The idea of this entire thing is that when you're in a protective industry, is that I can advise you not to go to certain zones where I know I can't get you in uninjured, uninterrupted, and I can't get you out uninjured and uninterrupted. Then I'll advise you that we cannot go there. You understand? But if I know that I can get you in, do what you need to do, and I can get you out, and if there is a surprise element, I'll know how to get you out of there. Then I will advise you, let's go and do it. And we go and we do it. Understand? The reason why I'm making this different analogies is that you have the police force, you have the military, and you have the private industry. The police force operates on a different level. And if you heard in the Madlanga Commission when General Mkwanazi spoke about when COPE, the political party COPE, was a break-off of the ANC to go and form COPE in the Eastern Cape. He spoke about police officers. Now, these police officers were deployed as VIP protectors to the executive mayor and to 14 other mayors, district mayors, right? So, I'm not going to say who asked me to do the intelligence on this. So we went in, I pulled out the list of members belonging to COPE, members belonging to ANC. Every police officer that were protecting ANC mayors, all those police officers belong to COPE. So that means we're saying that we're asking the lion to protect the lamb. Immediately, I done my report, I submitted, and I took over the deployment. I took over the deployment of 14 mayors, district mayors, and I protected the executive mayor during that time, what General Mkwanazi mentioned. I did that.
So you just mentioned there's police force, there's private protection, and then there's the military.
Yes.
Begitele also mentioned that 56 soldiers from the military, special forces apparently, have left there to go into the taxi industry in private protection because they get paid more from that side. And I think it's the same with Cat Madlanga. He was shocked to see, I think he had 13 people from the special forces, the military, go from there to him. What are we saying? What's your comment on that? Because that brings our system, it makes our system a little bit weaker.
Now, that's very simple. You see this government, the entire government, they're not serious about the protective system, the internal security of this country. When we were police officers and we were in charge of the internal security of this country, you couldn't buy us and we won't deploy. With 845 rand and maybe 500 rand danger allowance, we used to conduct and do our work that you cannot recruit us at that little amount of money. What the government should have done, when you have highly trained and highly skilled people, listen here, you pay a lady in a department of transport that's an admin sitting in an office just doing admin. You'll pay her far more than a police officer on the ground. You'll pay a DG, a director general, far more than a general of the police force. You'll pay police officers that are putting their lives in danger every day working. And you'll spend that money on politicians, you'll spend that money on a whole lot of things. What the government needs to do is wake up and identify that the police officers on the ground are the foundation and the custodians of law and order in this country. And you should invest in them to such a level. Number one, let them continue training and let them get highly trained and highly skilled. Let them get highly motivated. Pay them the amount of money that they deserve to be paid. So that even if I want to come in and see if I'm a cat and I say, I got money, and if I can say, leave the police force, how much you're getting? I'm getting 45,000 as a special task officer. I'm going to give you 80,000. Which man in this country, in his right mind, knowing that the cost of living is so high, number one. Number two, that the police force doesn't recognize me. The police force doesn't celebrate me. The police force is the police. I mean, the police service is a police service to make ministers shine, to make parliament shine, because right throughout Minister Kaile's being a minister of police, you'll have the police commissioner here, and if we in KZN, you'll have General Mkwanazi here. But the person that's the media darling, that will speak to the media and talk and say all the things, is who? Is the minister, Peggy Kele. And so what we're doing, we're rubbing the egos of these politicians. He takes that because I'm a minister of police, everything that is being done because I'm in the lead of crime prevention, intelligence gathering, intelligence gathering. I'm in charge of borders. I'm in charge of the corruption at the ports. I'm in charge of everything that is going on. So every win, every success of a police officer is being seen as that. And if you're not going to pay our policemen a proper salary, us in the private sector, we will definitely recruit them. We will take them. You pick the best. Yes, we pick the best. And why? Those are not gangsters. Those are not gangsters that are recruiting. They are businessmen. You can call whoever you want to call. You can call people gangsters. You can call them corruptors. You can call whatever. If they feel that they have the money to pay for the type of protection that government is abusing and not paying that amount, then let me take those people, take care of them, take care of their families, protect them, make sure they're being celebrated, make sure they got all the benefits, make sure they're being paid well, and make sure they have their time off, and make sure that's it. Do you understand?
Don't you think a lot of sectors in South Africa, I'm saying South Africa because it's our country, neglect those essential services? If you look at the medical space, in the nursing side, education, health, the police service, those are all crucial to a country's success. And often they are neglected financially. There's years on years where you hear there's no budget allocation for new teachers. There's years where you hear there's no budget allocation for more doctors, more nurses. There's years where there's no allocation for more police officers. It's like almost as though our essentials are being denied the proper remuneration they should be getting.
100%.
You don't grow up anymore like when you're going to school now. Your whole life you say, I want to be a doctor. Well, I want to be an accountant. I want to be a lawyer, because you know you're going to be paid well. It's seldom, like when I was a kid, I would say I wanted to be a fireman because I thought it was, that was a job.
Yes.
And then you see how hard it is, their job, and how less some of them get paid to risk their lives every day. It's a lot of those essential services that should be remunerated way more than they are. that are neglected.
Yes.
So it's not only the police; it's everything else in that part of our country
do you
that's
know why,
failing.
Josh? Do you know why? It's because ministers get paid so much of money. Government officials get paid so much of money. They get given perks. They get given fleets of vehicles. They get given bodyguards. They get given everything that you can think of. They have the privileges. They get given that. You're supposed to. Why would you take money that belongs to the people for the bare necessities? Why would you take that kind of money and go and live this lavish lifestyle that you are living? And then on top of that, you still contact your friend and say to him, I know there's a tender there at a certain place at the hospital. Go and milk the tender. Let's eat this thing and let's eat that money. You understand? And you go there, and the people are not doing it. You have the roads, you have buildings, government buildings. You can go into government buildings today and ask yourself, this building had a budget of 80 million rand to get refurbished. There's not even 5 million rand worth of work is done in here, and it's complete. You see, so there's a lot of siphoning that goes on, and us on the ground that work so hard and get taxed so high, and all of us and the people, because you go and buy bread, you go and buy something at the store, you're getting taxed. You go and buy a car, you're getting taxed. You go and fuel everything. You just being taxed around the corner. And the reason why you're doing that is because no problem. We want to pay for the essential services with this tax. We want to pay for the protective services of law enforcement and law and order. We want to pay for the services of roads to be in good condition. We want to pay for the service of housing. We want to pay for the service of infrastructure and service delivery. But for some reason or another, politics is a game where the people always gets sensationalized. The people, someone will come out and you speak, and then you will just go with the flow of whatever someone is speaking. The honest truth must be is that if you're an individual in this country, and the fact that apartheid has been abolished and there's a freedom of press and a freedom of speech, everyone should have a voice and you should speak. I'm not afraid to speak on anybody. I've never been a man that was ever afraid of anything in this world. I'm not afraid of no policeman. I'm not afraid of no police officers. I'm not afraid of no task team. I'm afraid of absolutely nothing. And I'm not afraid to speak my mind, because I have this brain, and you understand. And so and in order for you'll only be a chosen person that can express what the rest of the mass is feeling.
Sure.
And you got to express it. The anger and aggression in your voice is actually echoing what the people that cannot have these platforms, that cannot speak, and that everybody think that they are dumb because day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, no one is telling them what it's costing to have these commissions. And where's that budget and that money is coming from? Because if you ask for 100 houses, you don't have money to build those low-cost housing of 160,000 rand each. You can't have that money. Yeah? Maybe 2 million, 3 million rand, you don't have that money. But when I ask you about a commission, you got 60 to 70, 80 million. From where? There was no budget. All of a sudden, you got that money. Come on, let us prioritize what we need. And another thing, previously, we had the TBVC states, Transkei, Botswana, Venda, Ciskei, right? You remember we had those states. They were independent states. Now, if our country took a page out of the book of how those states were run, when you still drive out of Umtata today, if you look on the right-hand side, all government officials, ministers, MECs, they didn't have all that there. But what I'm saying is equivalent to what we have. They used to stay in those houses that were built. They were government houses built for government officials. Today, you can't see when the man has bought a house in Cape Town. You can't see when he got to build a house in Constantia. You can't see when he's staying in the estates of wherever. But for those government officials, they lived in those houses, and all those houses were built on the same plan. All those houses looked alike. The vehicles they drove had the government registration plates on them. They were controlled. Your salary was controlled. What you could do and could not do was controlled. You were not given the carte blanche like what you have here. You were not given the carte blanche like what you have here. Do you understand? And
Yeah.
everything falls back on the poor people. When last you heard of someone talking about poverty? When last you heard on the TV ENCA of people talking about housing that is needed? When last you heard people talking about the unemployment rate? When last you heard people talking about the unemployment rate of youth? When last you heard of people talking about everyone that is in standby with degrees and everything standing by?
It's
We
the
win.
biggest in the
The
world, South
only
Africa.
thing that you hear people talking about this day and age is the rottenness of the leadership of government, the rottenness of policemen in the police force. Yeah, that's all you hear on the TV today. That's all you hear people talking about. So in the meantime, why all that is being taken? Who's taking all the money of housing for this financial year? Who's taking all the money of assisting people that are in poverty? Who's taking all that money on youth development? Who's taking all that money? Because next year another budget is coming out. You understand? While all that is carrying on, the entire country is focused on that.
So if
Hmm?
you were in the position now to be the person handling the budget,
Mhm.
right? What departments and sectors would you say, let's spend on X, Y, Z? You've spoken about policing,
Mhm.
and I know that it's very important the budget goes there.
Mm.
What are we not looking at that the budget should be spent on as
know,
well?
Yeah, you know, Josh, from 2014 to this date, I've been a radical economic transformation practitioner, meaning that we know how to give economic freedom to match the political freedom of people. You understand? So we came out with systems, we came out with methods, we came out with so much of things that allowed that if every project that came into communities, that company that has got that project, number one, that has won that project, has got to sit with community-based organizations and say, okay, unemployment for the people, 70% local labor and fence line community, 30% your labor can come from the outside, which is your core labor, right? That was alleviating unemployment, number one. Then we said, okay, the company has to give, because employment is temporary, because the project can last 3 years. We want job opportunities, where when the company leaves there, you're going with these people. They come in to work with you wherever you're going to work. You want job opportunities, that's for a long term. And then we started talking to government and making government understand that, listen, without a country with radical economic transformation, right throughout the world, there's radical economic transformation. A country will never ever evolve. Because I'll give you an example. In 2018, you know, when the optic fiber came into the country, right? I had 1,500 companies with 8,500 people employed for a period of 8 months on placing fiber right throughout. Simply because every time a company came in, we sat, we engaged, we spoke to those companies, we made sure that the portion of work get given to the people without exploitation, with proper times of payment to these people, and we made them all open up the SMMEs, the small micro medium enterprises, and all of them, they were not workers. They employed people from the community. They invoiced the company paid them, they paid their people, and they made profits out of it. And today people are up, they're in their own businesses. There are construction companies today that are grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, that started with this economic transformation processes. And then they used to say that it's business forums. They used to call it business forums, and they say business forums, and then they started calling it that it's the mafia. Yes, there's an element that was there on extortion, because when you come in, they say to you, okay, now the CPG, which is a community participation goal, it's called CPG, is normally 30%. So the guys used to go into a company, befriend the project guys, and say to them, listen, if you give 30% of a 100 million rand project, it's 30 million. Just give us $1 million, and we'll make sure that no one comes here to come and sit with you to engage on the 30 million, where the people want to work, where the people want to put their companies in, where the people want enterprise development, where the people want to recruit labor from their communities, where they want skills and training development, and where we need to pour in, which is CSI, corporate social investment, to it. And then that started with extortion. And the companies, they saw, it didn't come from the ground. Because these people don't come and force you to give money. They come to you and they engage with you. And you see that 30 million to 1 million, let me give them the 1 million. And you betrayed an entire community that you are building in. You understand? And that's when community started uprising. Community started stopping projects because you gave one person the money, whereas 150 people would have been employed. Maybe 20 companies would have been contracted to you. So what I would do with budgets that come in is, number one, is to make sure that there's training, skills, and development. Number one. Useless me saying that, okay, there's a job opportunity or there's employment opportunity. Can you weld? You can't. I need to skill you first. Create the resources in communities. And then once everyone is capable and competent as resources, then the companies need to employ these people. And when companies employ them, then we know that now that a certain percentage of the unemployment rate is coming down. And you continue doing that, especially you work in communities. Because those are the people that are suffering.
Sure.
And there's so much of nepotism that goes on, Shaka and Josh, is that I may own a company. So Josh, you got a brother. Yes. I need someone to work in it. Yeah. You got a sister. I need someone as a secretary. You got someone else. I need someone to, my cousin, you whatever. So what happens is that in one household, you got 5 people employed. And where the aim is and the goal is to make sure that every household has an employment one person employed, a breadwinner.
Minimum.
A minimum one person should be employed.
And that in turn automatically hampers crime. Because the moment there's somebody getting fed, bringing bread to the table, there's no need to look at outside activities that are problematic.
That's it.
Because, cool, we've got so-and-so, he's bringing the food in every day. There's no father, because as a man, you know, if you've got a kid at home, right, and you can't provide for that kid, you know there's ways to provide that are not often legal. But you as a man have no choice sometimes. Do you know? I'm not condoning it and I'm not promoting it. But if there was a job opportunity that could provide, you would easily, gladly take that over the problematic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, Josh. You know, we always say, you remember the last time I said to you that there's always someone that wants something that you have. And when a man is hungry, the rich won't sleep. And that is what is a man is a hunter. He goes out and he gets caught into all of these things, and he thinks that which is a quick fix to this poverty, which is the acceleration to get to the point where I need to be in a position. Yeah. We don't condone crime. We don't allow people to commit crime. Sure. But at the same time, we need to find an alternate solution to crime and say to people, listen, stop what you're doing. Yeah, because I done it. When we did the whole fight in the whole of Umlazi, I called every single person that was there, whether you are a hijacker, whether you are a housebreaker, whether you whatever, all of them. And we made sure everyone had companies, they had employments. Till this day, they are out of the crime. If you look at Durban South, you hardly even hear of anything that goes on there because the leaders of Durban South, they controlled it by making sure that these people have alternate opportunities, and the crime went right down in that area.
So the fix to a lot of problems is job security.
Yes.
Providing jobs for the youth. Because if the youth are busy and they have an income, there's no need to look at the bad stuff that we call it. You know?
It's true.
And especially if it's jobs that we've seen like the police force, teaching, nursing. If those are high-paid jobs and you're able to survive, people want to be a police officer. Yes. People want to be a nurse. Yes. People want to be a teacher. 100%. There's a remuneration you get in return.
George, in the apartheid days, it was compulsory. If you look at the entire Cape Town, we had what was known as a Cape Corps, right? We had the Kufuts, we had the Cape, the SAKK battalion, we had everything. Everyone that turned a certain age was recruited by the military. With the white people, everyone that finished school, you had to go do compulsory 2-year service. Now you see that foundation. When we take everyone and a young, when you finish school and you're going in, that's your foundation of levels of discipline. It reinstates, it shows you what to become a man is about. It shows you command structures. It shows you everything. And also it skills you to a certain level that you come out and you will get a job and you work. If you look at a security company, we in the private sector, we are 10 times in numbers than the military and the SAP put together. So if we had to go and skill just the military, just take people in there, and then we had commandos where we used to call people in, and we used to train them on like you don't have to be permanent there, but every maybe Thursday or every Wednesday and Thursday when you finish work, you used to come to the commandos, and in the commandos we used to train you. We used to train you how to shoot, train you how to all the drill and disciplines, train you everything. We used to give you military uniform even to come in. In the police force, we had police reservists. We had a massive police reservists in the way people used to come in and get trained and work as police reservists and supplement this. And you understand? So if we upskill all those guys in the military, the guys that come out of military will go into job opportunities. When we started in the security industry, most of the guys came from SS Jalsina, from the Navy, to come and work in security companies. Security companies were booming. Earning small money, but they were booming because they had highly disciplined, high-level guys, well-trained guys that are trained well and everything. And those guys started training the ones that didn't make it to the Navy, started training guys that didn't make it to the military. But what I'm saying is the employment of a force that is 10 times the police force and the military put together. Imagine the employment that can take place. Instead of me saying in Msunduzi, Pietermaritzburg, this year, come and take on the security contract here. And the security contract is maybe 100 million rand. And from the 100 million rand, the company employs people and only pays 45 to 50 million to their staff as salaries. No benefits, no nothing. And the company takes 50 million rand for itself. Maybe the company is owned by one individual. He's got 50 million. Msunduzi is too lazy to have a security department in there to say, okay, from this money, let me, instead of the company paying you 17,000 or 20,000 a month, let's take this money, let's create our own security, and let me pay 35 to 40,000 with benefits, medical aid, all of that, housing subsidies, everything out of this budget that I have. But because we need to empower these cadres and empower people that are going to give us kickbacks, so what we do, we change the system. We move from municipalities owning their own security departments. We move from all these departments, and you start contracting this here. In all the hospitals, there used to be hospitals used to own NPA, used to own their own security staff, and they used to get paid well. They used to get housing subsidy. They used to get everything because it's a government job. And then what you do, you take all that money and you say, let's put a budget to this. Let's put a budget to this. And you go and give. One biggest thing the country ever done, Josh, is never ever asked how the President Cyril Ramaphosa became one of the richest men in the world. His father was a policeman. He was from the mines. And let me tell you how it is. Him and together with many other politicians. You know when black empowerment came in the country in affirmative action. So I walk into an industry and say to this industry, if I have to buy 50 million, 50% of this industry of yours, how much would you want? The guy will say, I would want 150 million rand. He says, okay, this comrade Shaka is going to be your 50% partner. We don't have the money to pay you, but me as government, I'm going to give you contracts to that value. I'm going to give you contracts to that value. And when you got the contracts to that value and it is paid up, that's your 50% partner that you're going to continue doing business with.
And he's got the 50% share.
And he's got the 50% share. You can't have a president come in, McDonald's come in from out of this country into this country. And then you start owning every single McDonald's here in this country.
He does have shares.
I felt it
in
because I used to do a lot of work, specialized security work. And then when President Cyril Ramaphosa decided he wanted to go into the security business and he opened up the company. He went and joined the company and they opened up whatever. And every police station, every police point you saw was his security company working right through. Remember, after 1994, he was not a politician. The only time Cyril Ramaphosa became a politician is when he had to come into power. You understand? Maybe he was a politician, but he was not in a political arena of this country. The only time is when his money could buy him the people that could vote him into power.
And you would have
You
had
understand?
to declare that, huh?
Yeah,
the
but
shares.
all those businesses, my man, he went in as PE partner, affirmative action, everything. If we want to clean up and be honest, that Madlanga commission for me just is a waste of time. Every single police officer in the police force, no one ever asked a question to General Kumalo, why did you keep quiet when a brigadier of 26 years old came from BMW to come and become a brigadier in this department?
BMW?
Yeah. She used to work at BMW as an assistant secretary. And they brought her in through the whatever, panels, whatever, she came in. But the fact that me, knowing that I have warrant officers and captains, lieutenant colonels and colonels,
Waiting in line.
that are 25 to 30 years, no matter how many years in the police force, that have never been promoted, with degrees, with diplomas, they're not being promoted. No one questioned, no one asked, no one whatever. We took it for that. Why did these people appear before the court of law? They were arrested. They appeared before the court of law. And then what happened? It became like it's a project to work against the intelligence department or whatever. And they were placed in another department. They were not suspended, not nothing. You understand? I'm not going to criticize the manner, but me as a citizen of this country, I see that as completely and totally wrong, because the people that's supposed to be in positions of power. We got so many generals in this country. We have a force, military force of the states of 1 million in the states. 1 million. And maybe you'll only have 6 generals in the whole United States.
1 million people, 6 generals.
What?
Yeah, in this country, you got such a small police force, but every second person is a general, lieutenant general, major general, this general. When we were in the police force, to get a rank of a lance sergeant, which was 3 stripes without the castle, was something that you used to dream of.
Sure.
So it's changed a lot.
It's changed a lot simply because everybody, like me, if I'm Minister Kele, and I meet you on the corridor, and you used to be in the trenches with me, and I say to you, hey, Minister, hey, you know how long I'm a warrant officer? The following week, that guy, he's a major general. And I can prove that to you, because I know this of CR Swartz.
Yeah.
I know this, and I can prove to you.
What
Sure.
ranking did you reach when you were?
I stayed a constable.
Okay.
When we joined the police force out of dedication and commitment. We joined the police force for the purpose of it. We trained so hard. We executed our duty so proper. We trained it at that particular time. It was such a great position to be a policeman. When I was small, when I used to play on a road and a police officer used to walk down the road with his cap on, full uniform, we used to run off that road.
Really?
Whenever you saw a police, you used to run, you used to respect a policeman. He was like the greatest of things. That's how much respect you gave.
My dad said
That's
the
what
same
made
thing.
me want to join the police force. I joined the police force and we did that.
My dad said the exact same thing. He
Yes.
said to me, when you would see a cop, you would run.
Yeah.
You don't want to be seen by the cop.
Mm.
You feared the cop when he came.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yo, Uncle Anwar, we need to
We can transition to
I'm
another
thinking of our
good
guests
part
here.
of the conversation.
I mean, our viewers.
Yeah.
Our viewers are gonna want to know because after when we look at the timeline, we spoke about AKA, we found the murderers, but then I don't know if it was a week later or 2 weeks later or a month later, you were in the news now for something different. Do you want to? It was Forte.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Well, you know, to be honest with you, I'm waiting for my day to find out what really happened, because I don't know what happened. You understand? So what happened is that this was a Wednesday. I appeared with AKA's father in court, and those guys were denied bail. I came out and I gave a media briefing, exactly what I'm saying to you, that now that we've got these guys, let's go further and find out where did this heat come from, etc., etc. Thursday morning, I got a phone call that the Special Task Force, the NIU, police officers and everything at one of my premises looking for me. All right, no problem. They didn't leave no name. They didn't leave no number. They didn't leave as to why they are looking for me. So I didn't bother questioning or asking what was the purpose. For me, I thought maybe there's something that like I don't know what it is. And then the Friday, the Saturday, then I found out that these police officers are from East London, from Fort Hare. In Fort Hare, I've been contracted to work at Fort Hare, and I've been there for 2 years doing the protection in Fort Hare. But the bodyguarding, I had 22 bodyguards deployed in Fort Hare, simply because after the president gave the proclamation, signed the proclamation that Fort Hare needs total cleanup. So they took management for this university from different provinces, different places, professors, etc. So these professors and all of them, because they were afraid that there were threats of them being killed, and etc., they needed protection, they needed bodyguarding. So this was not even tendered. So I was sitting at home, and a crime intelligence officer rocked up, and he said to me, "Hey, Mr. Khan, I'm here to see you on ABCD, whatever. We have a serious problem at Fort Hare. Can you assist?" I said to me, "Let me look into it." And then who do I contact? He gave me who do I contact. And then I flew up. I did risk and threat assessments and everything what I do without even asking anyone anything, because I needed to put a document together and a proposal to see what is it that is going wrong here and how can I assist to rectify and to make things right and to make sure that nobody gets injured, maimed, or killed, or no damages to either anything that happens here. Because when we take charge, we take charge. And then what happened is that they said to me, on the Saturday, they said to me, oh, I found out who the officer was that was looking for me. So I asked a cousin of mine who is also in the judiciary system. I said to him, "Can you you told me you know this guy. Can you call him and give him my number? Don't speak anything, just call him, give him my number, so I can speak to him and ask him if he was the one looking for me and what is he looking for me for." And he called me. Just investigating officer, he called me. He said, "Mr. Khan, how are you?" I said, "I'm fine." And he said to me, "I need to arrest you." I said, "You need to arrest me for what?" He said, "No, I'll tell you when I see you." So I said, "Okay, it's a long weekend. It's the Easter weekend. I'll drive up to East London, to Fleet Street Police Station on the Monday, because the next court date is Tuesday. What do you want to arrest me on a Saturday and a Sunday for, on a Monday? I know that I'm not a fugitive. I know that I have so much business. I have so much property and everything. And I never ever ran from police. I will never run from a policeman, especially when I know 100% I'm innocent." So he said, "No, he needs to arrest me now." So I said, "Why you need to arrest me now?" He said, "Oh, you want me to arrest you on your terms?" I said, "No, I'm just being straight with you. Number one, you haven't served me with a warrant of arrest. You're telling me over the phone. You said you've been looking for me, but when you got to my premises, you never leave any contact. Anyway, let me get ready." So I got ready, and then they rocked up through whichever means. They rocked up at my gate at my holiday home, and I came out and I said, "Okay, what it is, whatever." He showed me that the warrant of arrest, and he said to me that it's for fraud and corruption. I said, "Fraud and corruption where?" He said, "At Fort Hare." I said, "No problem, let's go." Jumped in with them, handcuffed me, did whatever they're doing, and we went. And Saturday I spent at Westville Police Station. The Sunday they drove me to the Virginia airport where a private jet was waiting for me. I was fully shackled and everything, on the ankles and on the thing. And me, I just keep quiet, because I don't ask no questions and I don't want to hear nothing. Right now, I just want my day in court. And so I was taken by a private jet with all these police officers, flown to East London. And when I got to East London, when I look out the window, I just saw a whole lot of policemen, NIU, task force, everybody there waiting to receive me. I got out the plane, they received me, and then I went and they processed me. And yeah, then I was arrested. And then the Monday was a public holiday. We didn't appear. We appeared the Tuesday in the court. And then by that time I contacted my senior counsel and everyone. So I appear in a court on the Monday. So we look at all the documents. Everything is wrong. Everything has not been done. As it says that your warrant of arrest, you will appear before this court in East London Court A. But for some reason or another, we found ourselves in Timbaza Court.
Timbaza court.
Yeah, in
different court.
Timbaza Court, in a regional court.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what happens with these guys is that they choose a court where they got control of. We call it the capturing of the court. They capture the court. So you capture the magistrate, you capture the prosecutor. The prosecutor may be part of your team, but you capture the prosecutor that has an understanding with the magistrate. So we went through the processes and everything. So we were denied bail day one because they said it's scheduled this and scheduled that, whatever, no problem. We get remanded into custody. We come after 7 days. After 7 days, the judge, the magistrate sits in chambers and have his consult with all the lawyers in chambers with all the rest of the people that I was arrested with. Was like about 25 other people which I've never seen.
You don't even know them.
I don't even know who they were. Nothing. And how you like this? On the day of court, there's Peggy Kele is present, the minister in court. There's General Kumalo in charge of the task team. There's Masamula, the national commissioner, is present. There's top brass is present for this case. Peggy Kele comes out to the court. He says, "Yeah, I've got the dog. They thought I wouldn't catch the big dog. I've got the big dog now." You understand? Yeah. He says that. So then he says, and then he says, the media puts out that I'm charged for murder, being a mastermind of murder, attempted murder, and all of those things to sensationalize. They want to sell it now. They want to sell this thing. And what happens? AKA's bodyguard, Anwar Khan, AKA's bodyguard. That's all you saw on the media. You understand? So what happened with that is no problem for me. It was a thrill, because when you're innocent and you know that 100% me, I don't do anything underhand, and I do everything highly professional. So I came after 14 days, and the magistrate said, "No, I've listened to the attorneys and listened to prosecutors and IOs and stuff, so I need to remand you for another 7 days when I've got to hear like a further and then decide what I'm gonna do." So in that period of that 14 days, I called my counsel, senior counsel, and I said to them, "Listen, I want you guys to stand down. Stand down. I want you to put me on the stand."
Sure.
Because by hearing everything that was being spoken, number one, they had no clue, the investigating office, no clue as what they were doing. Number two, they had no understanding of corporate protocols that exist within a system of a university of that nature, and how you get procured, and how do you think that none of the employees of Fortier, not even the VC, employs a specialist. You understand? You don't employ me. You don't. There's a department that was known as PACO. PACO, you go through PACO. PACO employs you, and they do the recruiting, the procurement, what they do everything, due diligence, everything. And I was there, and I give you my quotation. If you want me to work, you'll sign your SLAs, you'll do whatever, your service level agreements. You ask me to work, and I work for you, and I give you the best work under the sun. So I realized that these guys never understand the protocol. I was pulled in because of other agendas here. Because they looked at it and they said, "We got this investigation going on here at Fortier." Because they said they opened up this case in January and they arrested us in April. March 30th, they arrested us on March 30th. But they opened up the case in January. And then while you're opening up a case and you register the case in January, I am still continuing doing the bodyguarding. 8 January, February, March,
Work
April.
resumes.
Work resumes. I'm in prison. And my bodyguards are bringing the vice chancellor and everyone, my bodyguards are bringing them to court. So I asked myself, if I'm involved in all of this, why is my company still employed here, still working here? And I'm still invoicing them. And the best part about everything was that for 2 years that I'm working there, I got paid non-stop, whatever, in the university, because there's the proclamation order by the president. My order was granted. We have the special investigating unit that is deployed in the university to look through every irregular contract, whatever, for 2 years. SIU special investigating, not task team detectives that come from different stations, small stations, whatever, that made up this task team. They are not specialists, those guys. They were pulled from this department, that station, and put into a task team. They had no understanding of business and corruption. They were supposed to go give it whatever the information they got to specialized unit like the special investigating unit. So the special investigating unit is based there, and it's under the president's proclamation, and they're doing the investigation. The organized crime and hawks is deployed and also doing their projects, investigating with us, doing everything. Then there's the auditors, external auditors, like you know how you price
Deloitte,
water, Deloitte
yeah,
and Touch,
PwC.
they doing that. So everything is being done. None of them come up with a single irregularity till this day on my contract. So I take the stand and I deal with them. I put them all into perspective and I deal with them. And I say to them, one thing you don't understand is that, and the prosecutor asked me, am I a tenderpreneur? I said, I've never tendered in my life and I won't ever tender. With my type of specialization, you come looking for me. I'll never knock on no one's door for this type of service. Because when I charge you, you will pay that amount of money because you came to look for me. And you can't tender preservation of life. So all these tenders, what you all are doing in all of these things, trying to get companies, they tick the box. They are tick the box processes. You understand? So that they already know exactly who the tender is going to. So I don't waste my time tendering.
So the charges dropped now.
We appeared. The first court we appeared. Second court I appeared. They are waiting all along for it was over a year, then we appeared again, and they applied for a racketeering charge. And now racketeering is a very serious offense. It gives you 20 to 25. And then you got to have a 50 to 60% chance of conviction for the national DPP for them to grant you that certificate.
What is racketeering?
It was
for
denied.
people who don't know what it is. What is racketeering?
Racketeering is when you're involved in a lot of different charges relating to money laundering and what you use the money for, to pay for hitmen and to do this and whatever. You understand? It was denied. The racketeering certificate was denied. That means they don't even have a 50 to 55% chance of conviction. And how you like this? The prosecutor that was doing all of this, everything that he was doing unprocedurally, against the Criminal Procedure Act, against this, against that, doing their own thing, having their own ways and all of that. That's the same prosecutor that when that pastor that had 33 counts of racketeering, of woman trafficking, he couldn't make one count stick, and that pastor walked because of the wrong things that he was doing during the investigation and during the prosecution of that case. You remember that story of that pastor?
I don't want to say a name because I might be wrong, but I remember the story.
Yes, he's a foreign pastor.
Yes,
33 counts. Now, if you come with 33 counts, the guy stayed in prison for such a long time because you try to design evidence and redo evidence and try whatever. The case, any case brought before the court of law is based on two things: facts and evidence. Not hearsay, not clutching at straws, not listening to you, not listening to him, not listening to whatever. It's based on facts and evidence. And to date, when I appeared in a court of law, from all these courts now, the third court, right after a year plus, the racketeering certificate dropped, we went to another court, the commercial crime court. They withdrew every single charge on the docket and said, go and collect your bail money.
How?
This case was so high profile, private jets, TV, but it's a big the national commissioners, everyone was there. And I read between the lines, because I come from this world. They wanted a budget approved. And that budget was approved on the time when we were arrested, because I heard them bragging about that budget being approved for that task team. Yes. They needed a catalyst. They needed something to say that this budget must be approved for them. There were 2 people murdered at Fort Hare. 2 people murdered at Fort Hare. You understand? Both of those people, one was murdered before our time that we were deployed, and the other one was murdered while we were deployed, but he refused protection.
I remember that story.
Yes, he refused protection.
Yeah. Now it's up in flames.
It's up in flames, and you
Literally.
can see, because the truth has its own weight. When the head is corrupt and rotten, that VC is corrupt and rotten. I can say that. I'm going to say this on TV, even for the whole world to know that VC was corrupt and rotten. The entire body is going to be rotten. And that's what happened. And look at today, Fort Hare. When we started there, for 2 years before, we cleaned up that place. We made it tops. It was working. We caught brigadiers that were buying degrees. There was even a story where the premier bought a degree, and he appeared before the court of law for buying a degree. And that entire forensic department that caught him. And it was just a couple days before elections, remember? If this thing stood in a court of law where he bought the degree and it was proven, he would never ever want to become a premier again, and he's the premier again now. But you needed to arrest every single person that investigated all of that. All those people were arrested and brought before the court of law. The forensic teams, the attorneys that were doing the investigations. You remember the 2 attorneys and the acting judge? There was a white lady and a guy. Do you know that that lady, all her charges are withdrawn against her? She doesn't have a single case to attend ever again after putting that lady through so much of stuff. She got a civil suit against the state. Undeniable. Me, I'm waiting. I want more than 550 million. Because they said I was charged for murder. They said I was charged for attempted murder. They said I was a kingpin. They said I was this. And today where I am. The case didn't even make high court.
Wow.
So that's,
Yeah.
that's what
That's
happens
that.
to
Okay,
your
so we've
reputation,
cleared that
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And then recently, we've
sorry.
seen you on the news for the bulletproofing
Yeah, I was
and
just about to
armoring
ask
of
about the
vehicles.
cars. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been a whole new realm that I didn't know about up until you told me now before we started shooting
Yeah.
about the amount of work and budget that goes behind. I didn't think
Yeah.
that it changed the price of the vehicle to that amount that Chaka said as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
some of it, the value of the vehicle is often more than the actual price of buying the vehicle when you bulletproof it. Can you
If-
talk us through that?
Yeah, yeah. If you look at maybe 7 to 80% of hits, they are all done in transit. You'll see a vehicle parked there, you'll see the vehicle shot up, you'll see the body in the vehicle. They're all done in transit. That means there's a guy sitting in his vehicle and they come and they shoot him while he's in the vehicle. They kill him. So what happens is that with us now, we have ballistic armor. So we ballistic armor, we armor your vehicle fully so that on the levels that we armor your vehicle, no penetration of any caliber can go through. No bullet, not a 7.62 from an AK-47, not 7.62 from an R1, not 223, 5.56 from R5, and you will see it. And the reason why we do that is because we know that when you are in your vehicle, that's when you are sitting duck, and people can find you easily on the road and they can take you out. So a lot of people are investing into the ballistic armoring of their vehicles. It's a very, very costly affair. To ballistic armor a vehicle, it's 1.7 million rand. To armor any vehicle, to armor it. Wow. So what happens is that the guy, he buys his vehicle, he comes in and he says, hey, I'm under threat. I need this vehicle fully armored. So you armor that vehicle. If you look at an example of someone that survived, this is real proof, is the guy that was shot by police officers from Fields Hill. He was shot right up until he got to the pavilion with a white Fortuner. More than 35 R5 and R1 rounds were fired onto that car at close range. They shot that vehicle, but not a single round penetrated. The guy came out of that vehicle, not even with a scratch, not even with glass on his hair, absolutely nothing. But he was being shot at from Fields Hill right up until he drove into Pavilion.
I remember that story.
Yeah.
It was a Fortuner.
It's a white Fortuner.
Yeah, and he had police. It was the police who were on him.
It was police that shot him up like that, and the excuse was,
we had the wrong guy.
Yeah.
So how did they
Wrong
make the
identity.
identification that he was in the vehicle if it was...
They saw him because they spoke to him. They saw his face. They know that wasn't
Wrong
him.
guy.
Yeah, they know that wasn't him. I'm not going to criticize that case. For me, what concerned me a lot is that, 100% that the vehicle that I built, because about a month before that, he took that vehicle. He brought his vehicle, we bulletproofed it, and he drove that, and he was driving that vehicle. Sure. So had he not been in that armored vehicle, his family would have been scraping him off the seats.
It's the
Would have been
prevention.
scraping him off the seats.
Sure.
So that's what people are doing now. They are investing in the protection while in transit.
Are you seeing a high demand in that now?
There's a very, very high demand in it. And for me, it's to advise somebody that, listen, if you have the money and you're a key person, whether in your business or with your family or whatever, invest in the protection of that. Because sometimes the would-be attackers will get you at the wrong time when you're just coming out of a restaurant with your entire family and you get into the vehicle and they follow you. And they're not going to waste time on just coming to shoot you. They're going to want to clear everybody. They'll shoot so that, they'll shoot from the front windscreen. These are not sharpshooters. These are hitmen. They not all of them are highly trained to just face a target, hit the target, and that's it. That's your mark, and you completed. You lose your child. If you look at that guy that was shot at Springfield Park, that drug dealer, him, his wife, and his baby were taken out in there. But the hit was only for him. Do you remember that one? The Indian guy.
So, you know, when it comes to these things, I want you to just confirm this with me if it is true. You know, you think bulletproofing of the vehicle will be done by this celebrity or this footballer. Isn't it often the people you least expect that come in and get their cars bulletproofed?
Yes, yes. It
Why is that?
You'll find out. It's because a threat. First of all, everybody is human, right? The human body is not bulletproof. That means if there's a threat against you, you know that you are going to be killed, or you're in a position. Sometimes you take on a position. For instance, you become a chairperson of an association that is at war, and the people want you, and the only way they can take over that association is if they take you out as a chairperson. So you know that you're under threat. So what you do with it, a lot of our clients are people of that nature that come from the taxi industry, high net worth individuals that's got other businesses as well. But the fact that you know that, listen, hey, the threat is on your life. So any person in whatever level or whatever standing you have, whether you're average or whether you're rich or whether you're super rich, if your life is under threat, you employ mechanisms to reduce those threats and to minimize those threats and to reduce the loss of anything as you do it.
How long does it take to bulletproof a vehicle?
It's 5 to 6 weeks.
Your whole
It's
month.
5
It's a
to
long
6 weeks.
process.
Yes, it's a process. You strip a vehicle, entire vehicle, you strip it naked. You remove the carpets, the seats, the dashboards, everything you remove. And we build
then
that
you go.
vehicle, we bulletproof it, we armor it, we put on our glass, we do everything in there. And then we put everything together for you. You come, you start your vehicle, and you drive off.
Does it change anything on the vehicle's drive?
It changes absolutely nothing on the vehicle drive, simply because it puts on, maybe the maximum it'll put on is like 450 kilos on it. Because nowadays it's no more just strictly steel. You know, you got a 5mm steel that we use. I don't want to give too much of the industry secrets out, but we also use what is known as a composite material. That composite material is 80% lighter than the steel, but have the same stopping power as the steel. You understand? So if I tell you that I'm 400 kilos or 450 kilos, it's like the four of us sitting in a car. That's
Yeah.
the only difference
Yeah.
it makes. And your vehicles, most of the vehicles are 1 ton. They can take on. So it changes absolutely nothing in your vehicle. Your speed, we don't touch suspension, we don't touch electronics, we don't touch anything. Your vehicle.
And you often
drives.
see in series when like there's somebody pulling off, they're like, shoot the tires. You said something interesting about the tires to Chaka earlier.
Yeah, the tires, the tires have steel belts on there. So if you look at even that vehicle that was shot, that came to the pavilion, that vehicle, the tires were shot from Fields Hill going down. He drove right through up until he got to the pavilion. They're steel belted. They're not. The rubber is not bulletproof, but what we put onto those rims there allows you to drive for ever. So basically, all you do is when you're getting shot at, hands on your wheel and drive to safety.
There's no denying that you are passionate about protection, eh? There's
Yeah.
no denying it.
You hear it in your voice.
I mean, and now there's obviously the bulletproof side. What about bulletproof vests? Just out of interest, is there any advancements happening there?
The bulletproof vest is always been advanced. There's no greater advance than the ballistic vest that is now. So if you open your vest, it will tell you that, hey, listen, this thing will stop these calibers, whatever. And that's what I advise. I said, if you have tactical protectors with you, and maybe there are 4 of them, like you see what's happening around now. What the guys do, tactical protectors, and they got their rifles in their bags. The guys are not wearing bulletproof vests. When those guys get hit, they are dying. And if your protectors get hit, number one, you'll be, as a client, you're riding in a bulletproof vehicle because you can afford only 1 car. Your protectors are riding in a vehicle behind you. It's a soft vehicle. And at the same time, they are not wearing bulletproof vests. And it is no fault of the client. It's a fault on the protector because he's lazy. He feels it's too hot. He feels it's too heavy to move around. But what you don't understand is that is what's standing between him and his life and his death, is that bulletproof vest. I got guys that actually, till this day, thank me for demanding that they wear the vest. They were in a shootout and the vest got shot. And the one that didn't have the vest, his vest was in the boot of the car. He died. Because he felt that, no, he doesn't want to wear his vest. So it's important to actually protect yourself even when you're on duty, on making sure that you know what I'm saying. Because as a protector, the first thing you got to do is keep yourself alive. Before you even going to keep someone else alive, you got to stay alive. That's why you see even now, today, 38 degrees, my guys are on the range. We're training from 6 a.m. this morning. We train non-stop.
International.
Yeah, we train non-stop.
International.
And like I say, Josh, it's important when you give yourself a title of an executive protector or bodyguard, VIP protector, be proud of that title. To qualify yourself and to call yourself a bodyguard or an executive protector, go and train and qualify yourself. Because this, to us, in my industry, it's the highest form of protection in the world. Kings, queens, presidents, prime ministers, they are protected by bodyguards. So if you are not highly skilled and highly trained, don't use that. Call yourself an armed escort, call yourself a tactical operator, call yourself whatever. But there's too much that makes up a bodyguard to qualify you as a bodyguard. And the guys don't want to train. Because when you are deployed, that client is taking you all over the show. You won't know when last you went to the range to upskill yourself. Now with us, iron sharpens iron. You will train non-stop. And that's it. And it's costly. The companies to send guys to go and train, companies pay training centers to train them because the company doesn't have someone that is skilled to train the people. So you're paying 20, 30, 40,000. So the companies hold back and say, I'm not wasting money because tomorrow this guy will just say he's leaving work and go work for someone else. So what happens? You're giving the client, this guy, that you're scared to skill, he's your resource, he's your commodity, and you're putting the life of the client in jeopardy because you don't want to invest in this guy because you're afraid everybody is not permanent when you employ them. Like the task force. The government spent a lot of money training those guys. Understand? With my training from the stability unit days, they spent a lot of money. I took every single course the government could give us because I know how much it costed. And I gave back to the government with their training skills and everything that they've given me. I've implemented, I worked all those years. 100%. Even after the force, I was still deployed and worked for the weapons proliferation and bringing out the arms caches and everything in this country. We did that. I did all the intelligence gathering and investigation. We took down the 14 syndicates that was controlling the ports through security branch people that were my mentors that worked with us, whatever. So there's a lot that we did and we do and we can still do because even all these murders that are being cracked, believe me, they're being cracked by private individuals. Private companies are tracking, tracing, tapping this, tapping that. There's a lot that's being done by that. And then you give it over to whoever you're working with, and then they execute it. Because in the past, when we were working with security branch, etc., you have to tap your phone, you had to have what was known as a JD, which is a judge's directive. Only a judge could sign that directive to do things. So now everybody listens to everyone just do it haphazardly, do it because nobody knows what's the law nowadays compared to the law has never ever changed.
How do you know if your phone's been tapped?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I speak everything and anything on my phone.
Because I always think like, how do you know? Yeah. How do you know if it's been tapped?
Yeah. You only want to ask that question if you are up to nonsense.
Yeah.
And if you're doing something that is criminal.
I don't know.
No, it's not necessarily criminal. It's just the website.
Yeah.
It is.
You're not breaking the law.
You heard Peggy Keller. He said that, no, when you take a 204 on my phone, take it for that specific reason. Don't look at all my pictures and my videos.
I saw that.
And he said he doesn't WhatsApp anybody.
Yeah, that's the scariest thing, bro. Next minute, the whole country knows what category you're watching.
Hey,
but whatever's happening now, it affects us because we don't know how to link up because always we're plugged into the law enforcement systems. with my type of work, whatever we do. We'll get crime stats, we'll get crime intelligence work from here, we'll get some information, because we have to keep this network in police. Not that we interfere with whatever that is specialized and classified, but we get information so that we can deploy accordingly, and then we work with them, because they set up jocks in different places and different venues. We work with them and with stuff, with things. With our international celebrities that come into the country, it is not nice for them to see that the custodians of the law and order in our country are the ones that are rotten to the core. That it's got to bring out, even when General Mkwanazi came out to speak about it, to bring it out and to expose that. It took a lot for one man to do that. You understand? So I'm of the opinion is that if the credibility of all those guys that are rotten to the core, all the people that those guys put into jail, how credible was their witness statements and everything that they did? How credible was that? That put people, there's people in jail that are there for no reason, because someone was paid to put that person in jail so that I can take that contract, or I can do this, or I can do that. You understand?
Sure.
And it's sad.
Uncle Anwar, you've left me with a lot to think about, to be honest. As a South African youth, I would say youth member. No, I am a youth member. I'm young. No. Well, I'm slowly past that gap. But as a South African who's growing up, who wasn't in the pre-93 era, you've given me a lot to sit and think about and do my research and just understand the facts, because elections are coming up in 2 years, and we've got to make a decision on how we can live a better life for our kids. So I appreciate it, and we appreciate your time always. No doubt this episode is going to be another big one. Again, we appreciate your time and all that you do, and we look forward to an update on your life again, please.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, and thanks for giving us the opportunity, because people will see us as business people. People will paint us as corrupt people. The media will paint you there, but the media never ever goes back and says, listen, we withdrew and we were
wrong.
Whatever statements that we use to sensationalize, whatever was written out there, whatever you're reading on YouTube, let us take it off YouTube, where you said this man is a kingpin, he's a mastermind, he killed this there. People were actually saying that I was arrested because of AK's murder. Like, I was involved in AK's murder. I used to read on my comments. And
that's
stuff
where the
and
lines get blurred.
Yes. But at the end of the day, our country needs to understand that you are innocent until proven guilty. Until that hammer goes and say guilty, do not prejudge any person. Do not prejudge any person.
Sure.
Because things are not based on facts and evidence.
Those are the two things you need in court: facts and evidence. And you're right. Media never comes back to say, "Hey, we made a mistake."
We would like to apologize.
No, they're onto the next story, the next story, and the next story, and the next story.
They're calling me to the Eastern Cape to have a proper sit down, because they realize and they can see that there's been a lot. If I show you my phone, you'll see how many times I was invited to come and have a sit down full on actually what has taken place and why we found ourselves in that position, and why now in these commissions all of this is being mentioned, and there's still more that's going to be mentioned, because you will see that when General Sibia spoke, he spoke about the task team that was taking money from accused number one, that was taking money from here, doing this, doing that, and because this is what you must understand, is that the people that are questioning in this commission are politicians. Mkhunu is a ANC, so I'm going to write on that this ANC must be discredited whatsoever. You are not worrying about the interest and the truth of what the public wants to find out.
Facts and
evidence. So when you're questioning based on you sidelining. Go to the hard facts, face the people, ask the hardest of questions, find out the truth for the people of South Africa. Don't fool us, and don't pull wool over our eyes, because everyone that's sitting and watching this Madlanga commission, there's judges, there's magistrates, there's lawyers, there's senior counsels, there's advocates, there's there's doctors, there's lawyers that can see that the level of intelligence that is in that committee, I would have taken ex-generals, ex-commanders, police force. I will put lawyers that understand criminal procedure act, people that understand policing law, people that understand why this gets done, why that gets
actually
done.
ask the
To ask those
questions.
questions. Politicians, for me, they are academics. They don't understand nothing except trying to gain score and gain points for themselves. That's what goes on.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
That
That's
is very
another thing I'm
interesting.
going to sit and think about now.
Think about it,
Oh,
brother.
goodness gracious.
Think about it. You must always be objective when you're watching these things.
Mm,
Everybody is in there for their own thing there.
mm.
You understand?
Sure.
Yeah. But anyway, South Africa.
Signing
It's a
out.
country we love it.
Signing out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.